Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Tazewell County. This is episode number 12, and I am recording this episode on the morning of Saturday, the 3rd of March. This is hopefully, fingers crossed, one of two episodes that I will record on this day, so that you guys have three videos to watch next week. As you know, as I've talked about before, I've changed my schedule around just a smidgen, just a little bit there, just to basically give myself a little bit of a break. I've dropped down to three videos per week, and that is a really happy. That's a really happy place for me, a really happy schedule for me. And in addition, I've also put Thornton Farm sort of on a hiatus right now. My character that I sort of play in that role play is kind of on winter break, kind of on a winter vacation, out seeing and doing some things around in the area, over in London town, etc. And so that's kind of what's going on there. But that is obviously with that, and most likely will not have another episode of Thornton Farm for another couple of weeks. And most likely when we do come back together for an episode on Thornton Farm, it's probably going to be the last episode, and we'll wrap that series up. But in all reality, as far as this series goes, this is Tazewell County again, and well, looks like we've got a pig standoff there. They'll sort themselves out, and one will turn around and go the other way, I guess. And then, of course, they'll come and run right into us, because that's what good little pigs do. And we'll try not to shish kebab any of them. And it looks like we also need to eventually get the boys over here to do some cleanup there, but we can do that. Have them do that a bit later. But we do need to feed some water, or give some water to our pigs. And wow, look at that! That was just not even hardly worth bringing the tractor and the trailer and everything in here to do that with. But you know, we've got to do that at least every 3 days. Now they're okay on food and stuff like that. And again, I'll get either Billy Bob or Jack to bring the little skid steer over here and get them to clean up that pig poop, and that is obviously a technical term there. So it looks like Billy Bob is maybe experiencing a little slipping out wherever he is, and that is out in the big field. He is planting soybeans, as that is kind of our theme of recent. So let me put a pause here, and I will go sort Billy Bob out, and then I will be right back with you. All right, well, I've had to give up on Billy Bob. He is hung up on the fence over there by the graveyard, and it's just kind of a bit of a mess. I disconnected the row crop seeder, and, well, it seems to be stuck into the ground. So I'll have to get over there after we're more or less done with this episode, and get over there and take care of that. As I might have mentioned in a previous episode, or maybe it's a future episode that I recorded that you guys haven't seen yet, I do apologize that sometimes I do get distracted when things don't work correctly with courseplay, and I lose my train of thought, and I try very hard to be able to do multitasking. And if courseplay is being just a little bit of a pain in the backside, a little bit of a pain in the rear, then obviously I do get a little bit sidetracked. I lose my train of thought. It just happens, and and so it happens to the best of us, I suppose. But anyway, we'll get over there and get that all taken care of. Again, I'll do that off camera, and shouldn't fall too far behind there. Come on, Bessie, don't walk right in front of us. That's something that I would love to see them giants be able to kind of modify, if it's at all possible, is the routing of the cows and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of like having free-range chickens running around the farm. And of course, we don't have chickens on this map. And while there are some very cool mods that have just come out that basically do allow for chickens on the map, and my friend Duckzorly recorded a very nice how-to video on the new mod system and everything that can allow chickens to go into your map and obviously allow you to do a little bit more with chickens, kind of back to the flavor of how chickens were in Farm Sim 15, with the ability to be able to feed and water them, etc. Do a little bit more, and actually even buy and sell chickens should you want to do that as well. Not real sure why Giants changed the chemistry and everything with chickens on Farm Sim 17. You would think that, you know, maybe they would have, since it was something that you could obviously do in 15, buying chickens, selling chickens, etc., you would think that they would have just kept that option alive for Farm Sim 17, and essentially everybody would be, you know, everybody would be happy with that, or maybe give you an option in the menu to be able to flip a slider or something to say that, you know, you don't want to have the ability, you want to just have the game manage chickens. But anyway, that is what it is, and we're going to head over and get started with our sort of our main chore for this episode, and that is looking at this particular mower that we've got set up here, our case. We're gonna change our flavors of tractors just a little bit here, and go with some red equipment here. And of course, this is our case tractor, and we've got our Lely mowers on today. So that means we are going to be doing some mowing here on the farm. We've got our big fields over here, field number 17, I believe it is, that we've sowed, partially sowed in grass, and of course partially also sowed in, I believe, wheat as well. So the wheat is not yet ready, but the grass is. That we've got a yellow color as far as our grass is concerned. So let's go ahead and get folded out here, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, and we are off. We are cutting grass for the very first time on Tazewell County, and in addition, I want to just bring your attention to the upper right hand corner of the screen there. Today is also the very first game day of summer. Now, of course, that shouldn't be rocket science to you guys that pay so close attention to my episodes, because you know that the last time we were together for episode number 11, I believe it was, we were in the very last game day of spring. So what comes after the very last game day of spring, that would be the first game day of summer, and we like to play our first, at least our first and last days of the seasons, because that just kind of helps set our speed and our pace, and sort of just our general thinking about how things go on the maps and everything, just simply because, well, you've got to do certain things in the spring, you've obviously got to do certain things in the summer and the fall, and you know, all that good stuff. And so now that we are in summer, of course, we'll have to pay a little bit closer attention to our cows' water needs, especially because they will consume more water in the summertime than they do in the spring and fall, of course. And of course, we'll just need to make sure that we also pay good attention to all of their other needs as well, so that they stay productive, and we can sort of leverage their increased productivity and everything, and how that produces milk. And of course, the pigs, well, the pigs are really not that much of a producer for us, but they're here, and we need to stay out of that wheat crop there. But the pigs are here, and we're welcome to have them, glad to have them, and of course it gives Billy Bob and Jack some other things to do as well, as things kind of begin to slow a bit down. So as I said in the opening minutes of the video, today is Saturday the 3rd of March. Now tomorrow I'm getting on an airplane heading down to what I hope is going to be sunny Florida, sunny Orlando, Florida. Now today is supposed to be especially nice here in, there's that tree that's levitating there. That's kind of cool. I think it's one of the local landmarks here in Tazewell County. A lot of folks come out to view that tree that just sort of levitates there. But anyway, I got distracted. So I am going to be headed to Orlando, Florida tomorrow, Sunday, and be out there for the week on a business trip. And so today, the goal for today is to get the trim work completed for the hallway entryway project, as well as how it ties into one other room. So it's going to be a little bit of work, but I think that the weather will be nice, and I do plan to set up out in the courtyard with my miter saw, and chop saw and do those cuts and everything out there. Plus, it's it's very easy access into basically into the area or into the house there, because I can just come right in through sort of our courtyard door, and all that is good. And I am looking forward to getting that project buttoned up, and it has been a sort of it's been a fun project. I won't lie to you. I do enjoy doing home improvement stuff, as I've shared before, but you know, it is still a little bit of work. Now, earlier in the week, I did record an episode of Midtown USA, which I think you're going to be watching on Monday, the 9th of March. I think that is the date that is supposed to kind of go on YouTube. And I had shared with you in that episode that I did come home one day during the week, and because we're kind of running a little bit behind on the project. We sort of anticipated that we would have one weekend of demo and one weekend of laying the tile, and we were going to lay the tile. Actually, we were going to demo and lay the tile on President's Day holiday weekend. That was a 3-day weekend for us at our job. And so the demo just took an excessive amount of time, just because the grout from the old tile, or I should say the thin set from the old tile that we tore off this area, was adhered very, very strongly, very nice to the floor, and it was very difficult to get that grout or get that thin set, the old thin set, up. So that really pretty much exhausted us, because I think I might have shared with you that I came home from work on Friday before that long holiday weekend with the intention of spending about an hour and a half or so, thinking I could just rip up the old tile and the thin set and everything would come up very similar to how it did around the fireplace project. But we just ran into so much problems, and the tile did come up quite easily. The old tile, it was 12 by 12s, 1 foot by 1 foot square tiles. Those came up with relative ease, without a whole lot of difficulty, without a whole lot of persuasion from the hammer and chisel and everything. But it was that thin set. It was the old thin set underneath the tile and everything that was just an absolute bear to try to get that removed, and so that took us pretty much the remainder of Saturday. So we were planning on demoing on Friday of President's Day weekend, laying the tile on Saturday, and then that would have put us in position for last weekend to have been able to grout. So everything was kind of thrown out the window when it just took an excessive amount of time, and even though it was a 3-day weekend, I just sort of felt like I needed Monday to sort of rest just a little bit before going back to work. And even though I jokingly said, I was glad when Tuesday morning came around, because I could then go back to work and rest. But anyway, so got a little bit behind, but it wasn't too big of a deal. And then let's see, on so this last week, this work week that I'm currently just wrapping up, because it is Saturday morning, as I've said. I came home on, I believe it was Tuesday, and we went ahead and grouted the tile. We had plenty of time, because we had finished everything up on Sunday of the week before with the laying the tile and everything, and then we went ahead and got all that done. And well, I guess the other reason why I suppose everything worked out to the best possible scenario is that we were running a bit short of tile, and so we were able to get an order in for some more tile just after President's Day holiday weekend, and that did come in, so we were able to finish everything up. And so we would have gotten behind anyway, just simply because we sort of miscalculated the amount of tile that we would need. But you'll sort of, when I show pictures, and it'll probably be sometime after the week of the 10th, or 9th or whatever the 12th, whatever those days are during the week before I actually can show you pictures, because like I said, I am leaving, unless the wife takes pictures and sends them to me. She's gonna paint just a little bit. I think she's gonna maybe paint the baseboard trim for me. It's not a big project, and so we'll see how all that works out. But anyway, I'll show you photos as soon as I possibly can, and I think that once you see the design and everything, you'll understand why it took so long to tile an area about 24 square feet, but it consisted of many hundreds of tiles that we had to individually place because of her design. And so it's a beautiful design. The floor looks absolutely stunning, I've got to say. After the grout was done, we basically had to let that, you know, dry and set just a little bit, and then you go in there and you wipe it down with a sponge, and then after a few hours after you've done that, then you go in and you basically buff the tiles, because they will have a little bit of a haze to them from the grout and everything, and you buff them, and I tell you what, the floor just absolutely shines. And it's very much a Victorian style tile. And thankfully we also found a very nice, because we've got an air vent in this little entryway hallway as well, and I'm not real sure why they chose to put that there. I don't know if that is just commonplace or not, but it seems to be a little bit of extra work just to have a vent there, because the two rooms that adjoin this entry hallway, obviously from the front door, is our formal living room, which is where the fireplace project was, and then the formal dining room, and then you proceed through down the hall. The hallway's not very long, but you proceed down that, and then that goes to our staircase, goes upstairs and everything. But anyway, it's that is all done. The tile is done, the grout is done, the tiles are polished, the tiles look absolutely amazing, and so yeah, so we're gonna put the baseboards in today. Grand scheme of things, that's only going to take me maybe an hour and a half or so, and that time probably includes, or maybe 2 hours, that time includes setting up, you know, dragging all my tools out and getting everything set up. I do need to run into Home Depot and grab one more stick of baseboard trim, just because I don't have enough. I thought I did, but I do not. So we'll get that done. Get back home once everybody, or once the wife wakes up. I know I sometimes say once everybody wakes up, but really it's just my wife and I. So I should already be awake, considering that I've been playing and recording for about 20 minutes here on Tazewell County. So obviously I'm already awake. But once she gets up and we get stirring a little bit and everything, then that's what we're going to do. And then, of course, like I said, I leave on Sunday for the work week down in Orlando, and I'm looking forward to it, because I think we're supposed to get a little bit cooler weather here in Colorado, and it's certainly been just really miserable. I know I've probably complained in previous episodes, maybe several weeks or a couple of months ago, about the fact that our winter here in Colorado and Denver has been quite a mild winter. We haven't had a whole lot of snow. I think that there's portions of the south, maybe the southeast of the country, that have actually had more snow than what we've had in Denver, Colorado to date. But that is, you know, that's just the way it goes, I suppose. I need to get a screenshot while I'm thinking about it, because if I don't do that, then I end up having to set things up. And anyway, so let's see, what else did I want to share with you, because I would like to keep you guys all current on everything. Let's see, so I'll be out in Orlando. I may have, of course, you guys are going to be watching this after the fact. I'll be back home and everything, but it's just the way my schedule is. So the week that I am away, I'll have limited access to Discord and stuff like that, so it might not be on as much. I'll try to respond to comments in the videos and stuff as quickly as possible. But again, I'm saying all this well after the fact. By the time you watch this video, I will have been back from Orlando by then. So. Coffee is good this morning. Trying to get myself woke up and get the projects and everything done. I gotta say, I guess in the places that I possibly could travel as far as work is concerned, you know, I don't mind going to Orlando, especially if it's at this time of year, simply because it's usually kind of warm and it's nice to get away from the cold winters and the snow and the dry air and everything is one thing that's really bad here. So it usually takes me a little bit to get used to the humidity, especially if I go someplace in the summertime. But I would have to say that probably Orlando, of our offices that we do have, that I do have to travel to, especially U.S. offices, Orlando is probably one of the ones that I'm, you know, when my boss says, hey, you've got a project coming up and we need to do something in Orlando and I need to go there, it's probably one of the places that I don't mind going. I don't mind going out and booking that airfare and everything to get out there, because it's not a bad deal at all. So it's just before noon here, and we're coming up on about 25 minutes, 26 minutes of video time. So what this is probably going to end up being is kind of a multi-part few videos for this game day, because you know I don't like to leave the grass on the ground, even though we don't have rain forecasted for quite a while now. We're not actually seeing rain until the 7th game day of summer, so I don't know how that's going to play into the crops and everything, but you know, it is what it is. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a dry summer, maybe even a warm summer as well. Look at those 90-degree temperatures there. So we may hope for some rain, but probably won't get it. But anyway, even though we don't have rain in the forecast per se, you know, I don't like to leave the grass out on the field overnight, because we will lose some of that volume. That is probably one of the things that I least like about the Seasons mod and how it controls. I definitely agree that, you know, if you cut grass and the weather forecast is not favorable and it's going to rain either that day, excuse me, it's going to rain either that day or, you know, the next day, I would say don't cut grass. But we really shouldn't be penalized. In the grand scheme of things, we really shouldn't be penalized because we mow grass on one game day and leave it laying on the field overnight. I would think that in the real world, and I know I've talked about this before, but you know, in the real world, the way that you make hay is you cut grass and you essentially leave it laying in the hot sun, and that grass dries on one side, and you come along at some point and you tether that grass and kind of flips it over and everything, and then you let it dry on that side for a little while, and then you come along and you rake it and you bale it. Well, in order for us to basically not have a loss of volume, a loss of material, a loss of, you know, grass and everything, we've basically got to do all of this in one game day. We've got to mow, we've got to tether, we've got to rake, and then we've got to either bale or pick up whatever we're going to do with it. So not you know, it's not a huge thing, but you know, the Seasons mod, and I'm just going to get on my soapbox for just a moment here, but the whole Seasons mod, you know, it is a game changer, and I've said this from the moment that I put my eyes on it and basically loaded it into a map and began enjoying it. It is a game changer. It's just like the soil mod was for Farm Sim 15, and of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get a sort of a variant of Seasons and the soil mod all kind of wrapped into the Seasons mod for for 19, or at least that functionality in Farm Sim 19. So all that'll be good. But you know, the additional immersion, the additional realism that the Seasons mod brings to us in this game, it would be so cool if, again, weather permitting, that if things would behave a little bit better, a little bit more realistic. I don't think that a farmer that goes out and cuts a pasture of grass similar to what we're doing right now, and comes back a day later, or even 2 days later or whatever, to tether it, rake it and everything, is losing as much volume of that material as what it sort of is depicted in the game. And again, I understand that we're not playing necessarily one for one. You know, a game day, as we're often playing it, is not necessarily equal to a real life day. Especially, I mean, we're playing 9 game days per season, so we're essentially cramming, we're cramming 90 days, approximately 90 days, into 3 months, into a period of 9 days. So I guess that, you know, there is that, but still, the amount that you lose just for leaving something out here over midnight is just a little bit of a punishment, in my opinion. But we'll see how it all changes for 19. And speaking of 19, we're, I guess, maybe 8 months or so, 7.5 months or so away from when that's going to be released, and so that's obviously top of mind for a lot of people. And of course, Giants, I'm sure, will step up their game in teasing us about the release and all the different things that are going to be about for Giants. Giants, I did see a teaser, or not really a teaser, but a kind of a fact sheet that came out on their new beet or root crop harvesting pack that's coming out, the Ropa DLC. So there's some, if you want information about that, there are those fact sheets that have come available. And of course, again, our good friend Duckzorly did a very, very good review on the Ropa DLC pack, or at least an impressions kind of review, because obviously he did the review just based on the fact sheets that Giants put out a few weeks ago, and did a very good review on that. And I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to get the Ropa DLC. I know that there are some opinions out there that basically the Ropa DLC is nothing necessarily new. There's some people that even think that all the Ropa DLC is really just kind of rebranded, repainted equipment that we already have in the game. I don't think that's the case. I certainly don't think that Ropa, the company Ropa, would allow Giants to more or less get away with this. I mean, this is a business transaction, not just a DLC equipment release for us. Obviously, this involves licensing, and I don't know how all that works, and I'm not going to pretend to know how it works, but I would just think that there's no way that Giants could simply change the color of equipment that exists out there that we already have access to, and then just label it Ropa and convince the people at Ropa that that's, you know, good enough, and pay the licensing fee or whatever is involved, and then start selling it. I think it's a little more to that, and so therefore I'm of the opinion that this is not just a rebrand, a repackage of something that we already have. This is a net new product, and you know, I think that most likely I will buy it. I actually went out there just a few days ago to see if I could pre-order on Steam. I did see that we could pre-order directly from Giants, but I like to have all of my bits and bobs and everything all in one nice package, and so I do tend to get my DLC from Steam, and it was not available for pre-order, but it most likely will be before I get back from my trip that's coming up. So I'll keep an eye on that. And of course, again, you guys are watching this episode well into the week after I'm back from my trip and everything, so it's kind of a bit of old news and everything at that point. So Anyway, let's see. Let me look at my timer there. It's showing about 33 minutes, but I did have to, will have to leave some stuff on the cutting room floor just because of the time that it took me monkeying around with Billy Bob's tractor over there at the graveyard. It's, I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to probably have to reset the seeder to get it to behave and get it out of the soil. Before I close, I will just say this, and of course this is old news. Again, especially because of the time frame that you guys are watching this episode and everything. But Tazewell County version 2.0 has been released by the SimStation. It is available on FSUK. And so I know that a lot of you folks have been a bit frustrated because we thought that this map would be released sooner rather than later. Honestly, I did not think that I would get, 11 episodes or so recorded before it was released. I was really thinking that by the time I got my hands on my pre-release copy, I really thought that the release would be in the next, in the next couple of days. And so it's been several weeks, obviously, since I've got this and started this series and everything, and then it came available for you. So I, certainly will apologize, even though I have no responsibility of the timing and everything of that. I know it's frustrating when you guys see us YouTube content creators playing and using stuff that you guys can't readily get. I try to limit that. I don't really use equipment that is not available to you all. I do play maps when I get the opportunity to play an early release, try to help drum up the hype and everything for the mod author and everything, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that very much. But those of us that just, our jobs are just here to create content, we don't really have any control over when things are going to get released and all the other kind of things that fall into that, because it is especially if a map developer is wanting to release a map for the Giants mod hub, there's a whole lot of additional hoops and jumps and rings of fire and everything that these guys have to go through. And I think I talked about that in maybe the last episode, about how that even though there are all these hoops and everything that the mod authors, these map developers, have to jump through, I much prefer downloading mods and everything from the Giants mod hub, just because I get a little bit more peace of mind that that Giants has tested everything, and that it's not going to cause me problems, and it's going to work well, and I'm not going to get frustrated and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, with all that in mind, I am going to wrap this up and probably go upstairs for just a bit, get another cup of coffee, come back down, and going to record an episode of Midtown USA. So I'm going to try to be mixing and matching, where you'll get 2 episodes of Midtown USA one week and 1 episode of Tazewell, and then I'll flip it, and the next week you'll get 2 episodes of Tazewell and maybe 1 episode of Midtown. I think Midtown, I think we're going to be doing a bit of mowing as well on that episode. So this is one of my favorite things to do in the game, is mowing. It's just so relaxing and everything. But we'll be possibly doing that in that next episode, because we need to get some silage made up for the winter. And so anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you all go and say thank you all so much for watching my episodes, watching my content. Thank you all for being such wonderful subscribers and viewers as well. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. I do appreciate one and all for those things. I would also like to remind everyone to please go out and watch my friends that are content creators for YouTube. Guys like Eustace, Pharmer, Klein, Duckzorly, Doughboy, some of the others that are all listed down below there. You'll find the channel links to their videos down below. Go over there, check those videos out, and then last but not least, don't forget, visit PCSG, visit the 3 Dudes Gaming Network, and also check out all the wonderful Discord channels that are out there as well. I'm almost thinking that If it wasn't for the fact that, you know, mods and everything are a little easier to organize and download from a website, I'm almost thinking that the way that some of these Discord channels are set up and everything, it's almost replacing a forum, almost the old style, you know, forums technology that's kind of been around for you know, 20 years or so. Discord is so cool in the fact that, you know, how that you've got real-time stuff out there. And anyway, so thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'm not going to go back through all that ramble again, and I will just end things out here, and I will say I'll see you down the road at a future recording on a map. I don't know which map, but I guess Midtown USA. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.